the mere fact that I'm here in northern Minnesota talking about the power of pie is powerful within itself. And for TED, nonetheless. So I'm going to stand here and give myself a big applause. And if you want to join me, you can. Pie, to me, it's, well, it's an absolute delicious way of nurturing and fortifying the human spirit. We've been hearing about education and how to go about doing that differently. There's this other little piece of it that needs to be dealt with, and that is, where does that nurturing start? Well, for me, it has to do with mama's touch. And when I think about mama's touch, I can't help but think about pie. Now, that pie thing and mama, they had this little connection going on between her and Mother Nature. So up here are some of the special features of some pies. Some of us like this kind of pie. Some of us like that kind of pie. This one, the apple, this apple has all kinds of stuff in it that's good for you. We've heard that saying, it says, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. You know, it helps to lower cholesterol. It helps to strengthen the bones. It's just good stuff. So we know that is a valuable thing that comes from nature. But did you also know that the apple pie is the #1 most consumed pie in the country? Well, it is, and it makes plenty of sense, I suppose. There is this little chant that goes, can she bake a cherry pie, Billy boy, can she bake a cherry pie? Well, what that mama was really asking her darling son was, honey, this woman that you're getting ready to marry, does she know how to keep your heart healthy? That's the value of those cherries. And then these little beauties down here that we love to eat, these little blueberries, you know, talk about brain power. They actually help prevent memory loss. So we definitely love to have blueberries, don't we? I have to tell you about this one. This is the lemon. And, you know, there's nothing better than a good lemon pie. And for those of you gentlemen who've been sitting there close to me and you're wondering, why in the world is that woman smelling like lemon? Well, the thing I learned is lemon helps to calm the nerves. And when you're getting ready to be up here in this red spot, you need your nerves calm, thus the lemon. And this is my favorite, obviously. The scientific term for this is called Ipomea batatas. Ipomea batatas, and that means sweet potato. So you will hear me talk a little bit about that quite frequently during this presentation. However, when I think about this whole thing with mama's touch, I can't help but go back to my own roots. I was born and raised in rural Tennessee, and I was raised in Jackson, Tennessee, actually, with lots of old women. There was my grandmother, my great-grandmother, and all the aunts and all of them. And my children often say to me, well, Mom, you know you're not really old. Why do you talk so old? It's because I was born old. So my great-grandmother, I called her Mom Allie. Mom Allie would take me by the hand and say, okay, Renee, she called me Renee, my middle name is Marie. We're going to go visit some of my friends today. And of course, you know, they were all what? Old women. So here we go. And I'd be talking and just running my mouth, chatter, chatter, chatter all the time. At least that's what they say. And I'm asking lots of questions. Well, what is that tree over there? And what's that leaf? And what's that plant for? And she'd answer those questions because she knew about those herbs and about those leaves and those trees. And I'd talk all the time, and it didn't seem to bother her. Well, there was this one day, I remember it well, when we were going to a house that I had never been in before, did not want to go into it because all of us children were afraid of that house because Miss May lived in that house, and we were terrified of Miss May. Miss May was very old, very frail, and she never spoke. She never smiled. She was albino. And in our community, that was very different. Didn't see any reason to go near Miss May. Well, Mama Allie decided she was taking Miss May this sweet potato pie, and I went with her. and I'm holding on to her leg. We get up to Miss May's house, and it is a very, very small house, one framed. And there we went into this room. And over there was a table with everything in the world on this table. And we went over to this table, or she did, when Mama Allie gave her this beautiful pie. And she pulled the cloth back. She looked at the pie, and she smiled. And she sat down and she took a bite of it, and she smiled even bigger. And the more she ate with that pie, her own pie, she was just as happy. When we left, all the way home, I looked at Mom Allie. Mom Allie looked down at me, and we didn't say a word. All we did was just smile at each other. And what I've come to realize over time is that there are other meanings for this pie. Sometimes we're all caught up in what's going on in society. We're losing our homes, we're losing our jobs, our children aren't performing academically, and it gets to be a vicious kind of cycle. It gets to be a me, I kind of thing. And that little one up there, how do you get that voice into the whole conversation? How do you get the elderly to the table? How do you listen and make sure that everyone has an opportunity? I love that movie where the waitress, she makes the pies, and the next thing you know, she is naming the pies. So I decided today, this is my getting ready for TED, so I got to look pretty pie. This is a sweet potato pie. And for those of you who are wondering, well, you're doing all that talking about pie, are we going to get any? Yes, you will get some, because there is enough pie for everyone to go around. Thank you.